Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk about Beyond the Gates, Season 2, Episode 9. So, before we begin, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. All right, so we start the episode off with Dani, and she's gone to the club. She's walking in all, extra and happy, speaking to people and everything. So she goes and sits down, and then Haley comes up and they have a little back and forth. And Haley tells her that she has the test results, and she's just like, "Oh, wow, are your kids a genetic anomaly? Anomaly? La, 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 la. Are they a genetic anomaly?" And Danny's just like, "I don't want it." And she'll just like, "Here, take the test, take the test." And she'll just like, "I don't want it, I don't want it." And then we find out it's a daydream. And it's actually Pamela is actually there. And she's giving her a card to give to her mom or whatever. So she tells her that it's a bunch of pictures of Anita and Dani together and all this other stuff. And in this instance, I was just like, why she didn't just put a compilation of pictures of all of them? Why just Dani? But then I was just like, it's her best friend. So of course she probably has a lot of pictures of Dani, and maybe some with Dani and Anita. So, okay. So then she tells her, Dani goes on to tell her about the BRCA gene and how she tested positive, but Nicole tested negative. And then Pamela says something to the effect of, just because she dodged this one doesn't mean there ain't something else in the chamber, something like that. And I was just like, so does I don't think Pamela likes I don't think Pamela likes Nicole, and that's why she probably doesn't like um Vanessa, because remember there was that one scene where we seen Vanessa and Pam together and they were real frosty to each other, or Pamela had said something like, she said something about Vanessa, and I think it's because, Vanessa is cool with both of them and Pamela isn't cool with Nicole, so it's just like maybe she feels jealous or something like that. But anyways, so they're talking and she's telling her, like, if anything comes of this, you have lean on everybody, lean on you have me to lean on, your entire family to lean on, and also lean on Bill. And it's just like, now why would she lean on Bill when she got a husband at home? See, Pamela, you've been saying some out of pocket stuff in this whole conversation. You gave some good advice, and then you said something out of pocket about Nicole, and now you're giving terrible advice, telling this girl to lean on Bill. And it's just like, you've been the main one telling her to stay away from Bill because you don't like him, and now you're telling her to lean on him in a crisis when she really does not need to lean on him. Like, honestly, she does not need to lean on this man. But I digress. Um, we see Joey. He meets up with Leslie because Leslie called him down or whatever, and he was just like, "I don't like to be summoned, and we have nothing to talk about." And she's just like, "Oh, our partnership," and he was just like, "It's it's a one and done thing, like, I'm supposed to be a silent partner. Like, I don't need to be meeting you to talk to you about anything." And she said something about Vanessa, and he was like, "I've had people taken out for less, so don't play with me." And he walks off, and she looks a little shook. So she's still at Leslie, she was still at the bar, and Malone comes in because he's supposed to be meeting somebody about Sheila, but he never met up with the person because he decides to leave. He decides to leave the bar with Leslie. So I'm wondering, did he really need to meet somebody there, or is he really still following Leslie? But then again, I'm like, I don't know, because it's just like, if you trying to follow her because you want to get information on her, sleeping with her is going to taint everything. But anyway, so they're at the bar, they're talking, and she was telling him how she met up with Joey, and he was just like, I hope you met up with him to tell him, like, you don't want you don't want to do this partnership no more. She was just like, don't underestimate me and all this other stuff. So they decide to leave. They go to the hotel. They're, about to get nasty, and she, grabs his pew pew, his weapon, his job weapon. Lord. Anyway, you say it, it's just, oh Lord. But anyway, so she grabs his weapon and she was just like, I know how to handle this. And she, like, she aims it at the wall, and then he takes it from her, like, you could get in serious trouble, or I could get in serious trouble, or something like that. And they go and have sex or whatever. So we see Haley, she's at the office and she's spiking the drink again. And Bill walks in and she was just like, oh, where did you go? You left the house before me and I thought you would have been here by the time I got here. And he was just like, oh, I stopped at Orphe Jeans to get breakfast for Chelsea, just to check on her and all this other stuff. So they, so he gives her the bag of breakfast or whatever, and she offers him the drink, and he was just like, I'm not about to drink your poison. And she shook, and he was just like, I can't keep drinking this, it's not good for me, da da da, all this other stuff. And he was just like, not everything that's good for you is good for you, or something like that. So he doesn't really know that she's poisoning her, which of course we knew, just a red herring or whatever. So she was just like, no, you got to drink it, da da da, all this other stuff. So as they're talking, Joey comes in, and Joey is just like, I want to meet with Bill. And Haley's just like, if you're trying to meet with him to talk to him and talk him into going to politics, please don't. And he was just like, no, it's about a business. So Haley leaves, and Bill and Joey meet, and Joey is basically telling him that he's going into business with Leslie, and he wants to make sure that there are some things in the contract that he wants to change up the language in the contract or something like that. So because she wants to name the free clinic the L-Top, the Leslie Outreach or something like that. Leslie Thomas Outreach Program, that's what she wants to name it. And he's just like, no, we're changing that. He mentions that he wants it to be something about Doug. And Bill is just like, oh, so you want to name it after the man who was trying to take you down, whose wife you're sleeping with, who conveniently is no longer around. So Bill is just like, he got his eye on him, because it's just like, I legit told you that Doug was wanting to, like, turn you in and get some evidence to turn you in, and then all of a sudden he accidentally, like, he has a car wreck or whatever, and it's just like, I'm watching you. So we see Nicole, she wakes up, and she's, she has a little flashback to the night before, and she turns around and she sees Vanessa, and Vanessa is just like, am I not who you thought I was? She gives her the hangover cure, and then they talk about, the night before and how she went off on Carlton or whatever, and how she feels bad about it. And Vanessa is reassuring her. Nicole tells her about, her testing negative, but Dani testing positive. Again, Nicole again reassures her. They start to talk about Joey, and Vanessa is just like, I'm not the one who brought this. I mean, not Vanessa. Nicole is just like, I didn't bring him up. You are. So don't be mad at me that I disapprove of it, but again, I'm not talking about it. And Vanessa is just like, even though you don't talk about it, it doesn't mean that I can't tell that you disapprove of it. And I would like for you not to, because this is who I'm with and who I really like. And she was just like, I want us to do a double date. And Nicole is just like, yeah, no. And she's just like, well, why not? And she was just like, well, first of all, I don't think that Carlton wants to see me again after everything that happened. She was just like, you never know. Just, you never know. Just try or whatever. So they decide that they're gonna try to do this double date, and it's just like, oh Lord, okay. So Vanessa's at Orphe Jeans, not Orphe Jeans, she's at the club, and Joey comes in, and they're talking, and he mentions meeting, um, what's her name? What's this girl's name? He mentions meeting Leslie, and Vanessa's just like, I'm so sorry. I thought this would have been good for the bottom line. Is she annoying you? I should have known better. And it's just like, yes, you should have known better. Because again, I don't know why you even why you again, she a op to her best friend, because girl, why? But I digress. So he mentions dedicating the clinic to Doug, and she's so happy. And he was just like, you weren't supposed to find out yet," and all this other stuff. And it's just like, girl, when you find out that he's the one who had your husband taken out, let's see how you act then, because you are really just, yeah. So we see Nicole, she's at the hospital, and she runs into Carlton, and she's a little like she's embarrassed or whatever, and he's just like, he ain't tripping. He's just like, girl, like I said, I want all of you. I want the drunk you, I want the sober you, I want the fun you, I want the sad you, I want all of you. So you being drunk and saying whatever you said, okay, I'm still here, basically. And I was just like, oh, he really does like her. So we about to see. So they talk, and she invites him on the double date. And he was just like, you don't seem too happy about going on a double date out with me in public. Like, is this not what you want? And she was just like, oh, no, it's not that. It's who the couple is. And he was just like, well, who's the couple? And she was just like, Joey and Vanessa. And he was just like, wait, what? Because it's just like, exactly, Vanessa, girl, your husband, how long has it been since Doug has been gone, and you already got a whole whatever. So we see Dani, she goes to go see Bill, and she wants to thank him in person for being there for her and all this other stuff. And it's just like, girl, you could have sent him a text. You did not need to go see him in person. Like, again, listening to Vanessa, when you have everybody who means you well is telling you, don't lean on this man, your daddy, your mama, your sister, your kids, your husband. Like, they're telling you, don't lean on him, because you don't need to lean on him. You have a village. He does not need to be a part of the village, especially since he's the one who broke the village in the first place. Like, you don't need to lean on this man, but you decide to listen to Pamela, the one person who's telling you to lean on him. That's the advice you want to listen to. And it's just like, girl, what? Like, I hate that for my sis, but I'm gonna stick beside her. Look, I'm gonna stick beside her. So there, she thanks him or whatever, and they hug, and Haley comes in, and then she is just like, is there a time when you will not have your hands on my husband, or something like that? And that's how the episode ends. So we're about to see what's going to happen in the next episode. We'll see if, honestly, I don't care if Haley is mad, because girl, you broke up their relationship. So be mad. But again, that was the episode. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications. And I will see you guys in the next one.